About 1.5 years ago, I made a small mistake that cost me a lot of fish. I was smoking the catfish in my farm. I drained the water in the pond and I harvested some and I started the smoking. I was intending to smoke the rest after I finished smoking the first batch. And because of that, I didn't fill up, I didn't top up the pond water. Then in the after around hot around noon, the fish started dying. I also faced similar challenge recently. I experienced in one of my clients at Accra. He was changing the water. After he drained the water, waiting for the tanker driver to bring water into the pond and fill up. And then also the fish started dying. And it is not what you think. It is not high ammonia. It is not overfeeding. It is not disease outbreak. Both mortality were caused by the same issue. And you'll be surprised. And that was excessive sunlight. You might be wondering, you have probably seen farms exposed in sunlight without any problems. Personally, I ran our farm for several years. It wasn't shaded and it was exposed to excessive sunlight, but we never experienced this issue. Also, if you are familiar with the northern part of Ghana, you will understand how hot it is as compared to the southern part. Yet, our fish farms, including the one you can see at the background, are exposed to sunlight and the fish are not dying. But that day or that few occasions, I experienced the fish dying. And was as a result of excessive sunlight. This might be confusing you. You just told us that farms are exposed to sunlight without the fish dying. And you are also telling us that your fish died because of sunlight. The bottom line is the shallowness of the water causes that. If the water level is low and the sun is hot, the temperature of the water gets hot. And when that happens, oxygen depletes, metabolism increase, and the fish can die within minutes. I will give you details and what to do. If you are new to this channel, my name is Abdulaziz Issa. All we do in this channel is to share fish farm tips based on our experience and research. Our goal is to help you and I grow our fish. If you have not subscribed to them, please do so. And if you need our service, contact us. We can set up farm for you or flotation system for you. Now let's move to details. Now we come to the issue of shading your pond. Must you provide a shade in your pond or leave it exposed? And there's no direct yes or no answer to this question. It boils down to the type of fish farming that you are operating with, the system that you're operating with, the type of fish you are growing, and the climate condition of your geographical location. But like I mentioned earlier, if the sun is hot, but the water is warm, they will not be affected. Even if they were affected, that not much. But if you have shallow water, small water, then it easily becomes hot, and that is the problem. Just consider putting small water in the basin and big water in the tank and leave it in sun. Within a few hours, you will see that the small water in the basin becomes very hot. That is the same applied to the fish farming. Ironically, the fish also needs sunlight for growth. They also need sunlight for algae to grow to serve as supplemental feed. Also, If you are keeping aquatic plants in your farm, sunlight help the aquatic plants to grow because photosynthesis can take place. And that is also serving as additional oxygen, especially during daytime, because the byproducts of photosynthesis is oxygen, adding that to the water, and that's helping the fish. And also the fish eat that aquatic plants. Also, all these are benefits of sunlight. Yet, excessive of that in the shallow pond is dangerous. Now, what do you do? The best thing to do is to strike balance between the sunlight and the covering. You can cover your pond partially. If I say partially, cover the pond in a way that it is not giving totally completed shade, and it is not also subjecting your pond to the excessive sunlight, especially if your temperature or your climate condition is hot, like in the north or upper east or upper west. If you provide partial shade where one part is covered and other part is exposed, you are good to go. And if when we are talking about sunlight, it is not just the direct sun ray that hits the pond. Even the light from the sun entering the pond is sufficient for that, especially if you are using the tapoli pond system. So that is why I recommend, if you can afford the shade net that comes with not taking 100% sun, it reduces the sunlight to a level, and that is always good. So you can provide that shade net and you are good to go. You can also put a pavilion and cover the top of the pond, and maybe have the edges sunlight coming through. That's another way of covering your pond. I recently did a farm in a village in a remote area, and I love how they did it, especially very affordable and locally. As you can see, they just provided a pavilion and covered on top there with grass, and that is cool. That's good. So, like I said, your farm can be exposed to sunlight, not covered, and they're good to go. But make sure that when the sun is hot, don't always drain the water, or make sure that the water level in the pond is always a high that the sunlight will not get the water hot. But the thing is, if the water level is more and there's sun that is hot, the fish can find shelter in the bottom of the pond and they are good to go. But it is already shallow, small pond water. The entire pond is hot. There's no way to run to. They have no option than to die. That affected me. So that also brings us to another issue of don't change the water when the sun is hot, unless there's emergency case. But even that, make sure that you ensure the sun doesn't hit the fish directly, and that you can do the flow through rate. Now, I am not saying that if you don't have the means to cover the pond, you cannot have the production. Like I said, both cover and not cover have the advantages and disadvantages, but strike the balance. If your farm is exposing, make sure that you do not leave the water shallow, and always check the water. For instance, when it happened to me, I didn't even notice until someone passing by the pond and said, "Oh, hey, Abdulaziz, the fish seem to be weak and some are dead." Then I rushed in. When I touched the water, I noticed that no, it was hot. Fortunately, we have another closer pond with full water and fish. We quickly moved them inside, but despite that, we lost a lot of fish already. What it means is that you need to try as much as possible to always check the water temperature when the sun is hot, so that when it is beginning to get hotter, you can act on time and you will be good to go. If you found value in this video, share, comment. If you have ever experienced sun killing your fish or the excessiveness of the sunlight, let me know your experience in the comment section. Share this video with more farmers. And if you need our services, contact us. We can set up farm for you, or we can set up security aquaculture system for you. And if you want to learn how to do the security aquaculture system for your own, then check out the link in the description, enroll in that course, learn it, and you're good to go. Once again, my name is Abdulaziz Issa, and I have a completed free YouTube video which is about 4 hours teaching you how to do everything in fish farming and you are successful. Check it out in the end screen or in the description. Click the video, and I'll see you in that video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.